Hey fashion lovers, welcome to Carol Creations online tutorials. Today we are going to be learning how to make this trouser and top. You can see the trouser has a perfect crotch, accompanied by this top with a very beautiful organza rose ruffles. It's looking so beautiful on her. This can go for ages between 10 to 14 years. See how beautiful it looks? So today we are going to learn how to make this trouser, a straight trouser with a perfect crotch. So let's get started. Here we have our fabrics. We have our organza fabric that is going to be used for the ruffles. We also have our crepe fabric for the trousers, and the white fabric for the top is a lightweight scuba. Now we are going to begin with the trouser. This pattern is a freehand. We are not going to use a pattern, but we are going to use freehand cutting. So the first thing is to fold our fabric into two, and we draw our starting line. Fold the fabric into two and draw the starting line. You can use the biggest measurement, which is the lap measurement, to know which quantity of fabric to fold. That is lap divided by 2 plus 1, and we fold our fabric. So we are going to start our measurement leaving 1 inch above at the waist. For the band, we are going to put a band of 1 inch. So the full length of this trouser is 37 inches. We mark the full length. And the next thing I'm going to do is to mark the waist to hip measurement. After that, I mark my waist to knee measurement, and then I input my sewing allowance at the hem, that is the hemming allowance. The next thing I'm going to do is to draw the crotch line. The perfect way to get your crotch line is to make the client sit on a hard surface like a stool, and then you measure from waist to the surface she's sitting on. That is from the waist right down till you touch the surface on which she's sitting. That is how I got my perfect crotch line. On the crotch line, we are going to put the lap measurement. That is, we divide our lap measurement by 2, and we input the measurement. After that, I look for the midpoint of the lap measurement. We are going to use this midpoint to draw the center line of our trouser. So we are going to continue drawing this midpoint right down to the hem of the trousers. And we are going to connect the points using a straight ruler. This line is also known as the plumb line. That is a line that shows the center of our trouser. So we are going to input our round knee measurement and our round ankle measurements using our center line or plumb line. So we are going to divide our knee round by 2. Knee circumference divided by 2, and we place half of the measurement on each side of the center line so that the trouser can be balanced. The next thing we are going to do is to also divide the ankle round measurement by 2, and we place it on both sides of the plumb line. This measurement, if we cut it like this, is going to give us a pencil trouser. But since we are not making a pencil trouser, we are going to use the knee circumference measurement at the hem. The same measurement we are using at the knee, we are going to use it at the hem line. After that, we are going to connect our points using a straight ruler. I'm trying to print it out so that the white chalk can be visible on the yellow fabric. We are going to continue the line right up to the crotch line. So the lower part of our trouser is ready. Now let's move to the upper part. At the upper part, we are going to use our waist measurement divided by 4. So our waist circumference divided by 4, we are going to place it beginning from 1 inch inward. That means we do not start measuring from the end of the fabric, but we go in by 1 inch before we measure our waist measurement. We are going to do the same at the waist line, and we connect with a straight line. I decided to increase the lap measurement by ½ an inch so as to accommodate the zipper allowance. So with the measurement between the waist and where the lap ends, we are going to measure it and divide it by 4 inches, and we place it at the angle 90 so as to have our curve. Now we are going to input the waist measurement at the waistline. Plus ½ inch sewing allowance, and we connect it to the hip line. We can either put our zipper in front or by the side. If we are putting by the side, we can use the sewing allowance at the side. But for this tutorial, I decided to put the zipper in front. So I'm going to add a zipper allowance of 2.5 inches. So this is the zipper allowance. At the front of this trouser, we are going to go down by ½ an inch, and we slant the trouser to have a perfect shape. So we are going to go ahead and quickly cut the trouser. You're watching Carol Creations online tutorials. Please kindly subscribe to my channel, click on the notification, like and share my videos. So after cutting, we are now going to fold in the zipper allowance and then place it on the back part so as to draw the back pattern. So we have our fabric here. I've already folded the fabric for the back part and placed the front on it. Now I'm going to fold my zipper allowance inward so that it doesn't disturb while drawing the back part. The first thing I'm going to do is to extend my crotch line by 2 inches. By 2 inches. This 2 inches is appropriate for children. At the knee line, I'm going to increase it by 2 inches, and at the hem line, I add 2 inches. This is our sewing allowance. Remember, the back part of a trouser is always bigger than the front part. So we are going to link it with our ruler. At the crotch curve, I'm going to add 1.5 inches and I connect it to the crotch at the back part. On the waistline, I go in by 1 inch and I move upward by 1.5 inches. This is to avoid gaping at the back waist. I connect the line and I have my center back line. I'm going to extend the back waist to accommodate the dart. So I'm adding 1 inch for that and 1 inch for sewing allowance. And I connect it to the hip line or the crotch line. So here we have our back part. We are done drawing the back part. I'm going to go ahead and cut. Thank you for watching Carol Creations tutorials. If you have watched up to this level, I'm very grateful. I appreciate you. Please don't forget to practice, because practice makes perfect. So we have our front and back pattern. The next thing I'm going to cut is the band. As I said, I'm going to put a band on this trouser. So we are going to use 4 inches by the waist circumference of the trouser. The waist circumference of this trouser is 26 inches. So I cut my band at 28 inches and the width is 4 inches. So I'm going to quickly draw the line. And I go ahead and cut. So here we have our band. Now we are going to move to the top. We are sewing a simple sleeveless top with an organza rose ruffle at the front part. So we are going to measure the length of the top. The fabric I'm using here is scuba. It's not too light, not too thick. It's just the medium scuba. So we measure our shoulder and we slant our shoulder by 1 inch. The neck width here is 3 inches. I use 3 inches for the neck width. And I draw my shoulder slope. For the armhole, I used 6 inches for the armhole, considering the age of the child and the bust measurement. I'm going to deepen the armhole to give the dress more fitting. The next thing I'm going to do is to input the bust measurement, bust circumference divided by 4. We also input the hip circumference divided by 4. I use a neck depth of 4 inches and I connect with a curve. Remember, we are drawing on the fabric, so I went ahead and added my sewing allowance at the side before cutting. So this is the front part. Now we are going to place it on our folded fabric so as to draw the back part. So I've folded my fabric into 2 and placed the front part on it. So the first thing I'm going to do is to contour the back, the center back at the zipper allowance. I went in at the waist side by 1/2 inch and I made a slope so as to contour the back pattern so that the zip can be very relaxed and fitted at the back part. So I'm going ahead to cut the back part. If you look well, you are going to see that the waist, the zipper allowance is smaller around the waist. This is going to contour the top to be fitted at the back part to avoid folding. So I'm notching my zipper allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut some small facings for the neck and the armhole. So I'm going to cut the facing for the front neck, fold a little bit of fabric, you place your front neck on it and you cut. The facing must not be too big nor too small, about 1.5 inches. So that's my front facing for the neck. I'm also going to cut a facing for the back neck. The same way I did for the front, I'm going to place the back neck on a folded fabric, and I'm going to cut the facing for the back neck. So we have our facing for both front and back neck. I also went ahead and cut the facing for the armhole since we are not putting any sleeves. Now it's time for us to cut the base of our organza rose ruffles. I folded my fabric into 2 and folded again into 4. And for this organza ruffles, I used 5 inches for the radius. I measured 5 inches all round so that it can give me a circle, a full circle. You can decide any measurement you like. You can increase it if you want the rose to be bigger, or you can reduce it if you want it smaller. So I decided to use 5 inches for mine. So this is the size for a child. So I'm going to draw a spiral line that I'm going to follow while sewing the organza ruffles to form a rose. So I'm going to draw it all around like that. So let's keep that aside and move on to our organza fabric. This is what we are going to use for the ruffles. We have our organza fabric. I folded into 2 and folded again and again. Now you have to determine the height of your ruffles. You can decide any height of your choice. For this tutorial, I used 6 inches. I'm taking my time to arrange the fabric well because it's a very lightweight fabric and it easily moves. So I'm using 6 inches so that by the time I fold it into 2, it's going to give me 3 inches for the height of the ruffles. So I measure 6 inches all through the width of the organza. After that, I'm going to go ahead and cut all through to give me long stripes of 6 inches organza, which when folded into 2 will give 3 inches. Dear viewers, please kindly stay tuned for the sewing part of this video. Watch out for our next video that will be showing us how to sew this trouser with a perfect crotch and a top with rose organza ruffles. I'm cutting it all through to have my long organza strips. I'm going to attach it together fold it into two and weave the edges. We are going to see all this in details in our next video. I'm going to show you the step-by-step method on how I made these ruffles. This is how I'm going to fold it into two and weave the edges. Thank you, career creation lovers. Thank you, dear viewers. Stay tuned for our next video.